Hi, Lee Phillips again. I want to talk to you about what a real estate investor can do to protect themselves, their property during the COVID outbreak. And the fact of the matter is, real estate investors are in a lot of danger at the moment. I remember back in 2008, 9, 10, I counseled a lot of real estate investors. And the problem is that they would get their one property and it would go bad and be foreclosed on. There'd be a deficiency. They'd come against the second property to try and satisfy the deficiency. That one created another deficiency, and it just dominoed all the way down, and people, they went bankrupt. They lost everything in the last economic downturn. You need to make sure that you're doing things different in the COVID economic downturn. The main thing that you can do, and I don't have COVID, I just have a cough. The main thing that you can do is start putting your real estate into LLCs. They don't have to be in each separate piece of real estate in each separate LLC. I have, I think, 10 properties in 3 LLCs personally. You can't manage 10 LLCs. You just can't do it, even if you are good at it. It takes too much time, too much money, too much effort to do it. So you're going to have to think, how can I set up LLCs and group my properties? Or if you've only got 3 or 4, okay, do 3 or 4. But the point is, with the LLC, it has the corporate shield, just like a corporation does, but it also has the charging order protection. And what happens with the charging order protection is it insulates the property in that LLC from the outside world. So if you have one property that goes bad in an LLC, they can of course attack all the other properties in the LLC. Deficiencies in this area, this one property or this multiple properties, and it can come to you too. Well, in theory, it can't come to you because of the corporate shield. So in theory, you're protected. But if it does come over to you because you've signed personally on the mortgages, that's the problem. You've signed personally on the mortgages, it comes to you, they then come after your other assets. Your other assets are ownership interests in other LLCs. And the law specifically says that they cannot come and get the assets in those LLCs to satisfy the debt that you may have on these other mortgages. So you've insulated the property or properties in this LLC from the property or properties in another LLC, and it stops this domino effect. Now, I have other YouTube videos, and we talk about whether you need to be a multiple member or a single member LLC to get this charging order protection. There are a number of states now that are requiring that you have multiple members to get the charging order protection. And I have other YouTube videos on charging order protection. You need to understand it, know what it is. But the best thing you can do today, and you might be able to get the EIDL, the economic injury disaster loans from the SBA. You can't get the PPP because you don't have paycheck protection problems. You don't have any payroll. The credits, tax credits, aren't going to do a real estate investor any good. You're basically on your own, and they've said you can't evict your tenants, you can't collect your rent, you can't do all this and that and the other. The government is pretty heavy-handed with us. Is it constitutional? That's another old question. But the best thing you can do is immediately, and you have to do it before you're in trouble. Go out, set up the LLC, transfer 1 or 2 or 3 properties into the LLC. You do that by warranty deed. Actually, I have another YouTube video on how to get properties into an LLC. So get the properties into the LLCs and set up several LLCs or even one LLC. If you've only got one property, if you've got 2 properties, use 2 LLCs. If you've got 4 properties, maybe you still only want to use 2 LLCs, or maybe you want to use 4 LLCs. But it's critical that you have your properties protected, and the best way you can do that is to establish different LLCs for the different properties, or at least lump them together somehow into several LLCs. Everything's not all in one basket. There's a old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, that's what we're doing here. And we are separating each basket legally from the other baskets. So if one trips and falls, all the eggs break, the other ones are protected. They can't come and get those. So this is Lee Phillips. Don't forget to subscribe now. And by the way, when you're setting up your LLCs, you need an operating agreement. The LLC wizard that I have walks you through it step by step. It's by far the best thing out there. But I'll just tell you, go to your state website, set up the LLC. You answer a few questions at the state website. Some of them are a little weird, and I go through in the LLC wizard, the course I have for you, and teach you how to do that. But go ahead, give it a try on your own. You can probably do it. Then you've got to have an operating agreement. I've got a free operating agreement for you. It's on the internet. Just get the free operating agreement. It'll work. It should be fine. It's a good run-of-the-mill, not run-of-the-mill, but middle-of-the-road is what I want to say, operating agreement. It's not the 5-page operating agreement you get from LegalZoom. That doesn't have enough detail in it. Yeah, it'll work for everybody. And it's not the 150-page operating agreement that some of the gurus are giving you.
Unknown caller.
And so it allows you to go in, and it helps when I turn off the phone. It allows you to go in and set up the operating agreement with about 30 pages or so worth of information in it. That's about the minimum you need to address the issues that are going to come up in your LLCs. And I have other YouTube videos. Do you want the 5-page operating agreement, or do you want the 150-page? There are pluses and minuses for both. I've chosen the middle of the road one. So get the free operating agreement. I now have set up at the state. I've got the free operating agreement. You're almost home free. Put the property in and get it going. But do it now, because once you're insolvent, or once you have a problem with one of these properties, in theory, you can't do this. The courts will go back and they will draw back, claw back is what we call it, the things that you've done before, and they'll get those properties back. So it's critical you do it now. Lee Phillips, trying to protect real estate investors in the COVID economic downturn.